Okay, so let's see how you did on this problem. So we're looking for tangent. Tangent of angle P. So let's take a look here. Now tangent wants you to find the length of the leg opposite of angle P. So opposite of angle P is ON. So that's 15. And then we're looking at the length of the leg adjacent to, if you look down here, the denominator is the length of the length of the leg adjacent to angle P, which is 8. So hypotenuse is not included in tangent. So, all right. Hopefully you did well. If not, it's just going to take a little bit of practice. It's just making sure you recognize which angle you're looking at so you can determine which sides are opposite and adjacent. Hypotenuse would be the same if you were using angle N, but opposite and adjacent would be different. Obviously, if you're using angle N, just for real quick, the opposite would now be 8 and the adjacent would now be 15. So sine of angle N would be length of the leg opposite, which is now 8 over 17. So hypotenuse is the same. Cosine of angle N would be the adjacent leg, so that would be 15 over, again, the hypotenuse, 17. And the tangent, okay, would be now opposite over adjacent, so opposite is 8, and 15 is the adjacent. So you can see that it's basically just reversing, again, the opposite and adjacent. All right, so now that you've had a chance to just kind of figure out how to put these ratios together, let's make some use out of them. So let's put this to work. Let's see what we can do with finding the length of a side of a right triangle. Okay, so before, we needed either 45, 45, 90 or 30, 60, 90 if we only had one side given. And you can see here, number 4 here, one side is all that we're given. Okay, we're given the hypotenuse of 8, and we're looking for one of the legs here, x. So we're given one side, and all that we need to be given then, in addition, of course, to a right angle, so being that it's a right triangle, we need to be given one of the other angles. So we're given this angle here is 34 degrees. And that's all you're going to need. One angle and one of the sides. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's the hypotenuse or not. It can be any one of the sides. So what we need to first determine then is how those two sides, that one that's given and one that we want, how they are related to the angle that we're given. Okay, and that's what this tells us to do here. To start, identify how the sides relate to the given angle. Okay, so side x is blank to the given angle. So our given angle is 34 degrees. Side x, the side we're looking for, is what? Adjacent or opposite? It is adjacent. So adjacent to the given angle. Adjacent to the given angle. And then the given side, okay, the side that we're given is the hypotenuse. So what we have here is adjacent and hypotenuse. So now let's decide which ratio is going to be useful to us. So we've got what we were given and we've got what we want. Okay, those two things need to be in the ratio in order for us to set something up that we can solve. So we look down here and we see cosine has both of those. It's got adjacent and it's got the hypotenuse. So we can say here that the cosine of 34 degree angle here, so cosine of 34 degrees equals, okay, adjacent, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 8. See, now we've got an equation. Now, what we said here is there's relationships that always exist. So the cosine of 34 degrees is always the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's a little triangle, a big triangle, doesn't matter. If it's got a right angle and a 34 degree angle, the cosine of that 34 degree angle, the adjacent over the hypotenuse ratio is always going to be the same. And your calculator knows that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to take it to another slide. We're going to show you how to use the calculator to find that. What I'd like to show you now is how to use a calculator that's on your computer to look up these trig ratios. So what you do here, okay, is we're looking for the cosine of 34 degrees in that last problem. So what you do is you always first make sure that you are in scientific mode. If you're in standard mode, there isn't going to be any of the trig functions on there. But if you go into scientific mode, now you can see that you've got up here sine, cosine, and tangent. So what we do is you type in first the degree here, 34. Okay, and then you're going to go up to cosine, hit that, and you get this crazy number here, 0.829 blah 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 blah. Okay, it's a long number. Okay, we're just gonna write here. We're gonna round this up to 0.83. We're gonna go to the hundredths place. It'll depend as you look through these on how many decimal places you want to go to. But this is what that ratio is. No matter how big or small the triangle is, again, as long as it has a 34-degree angle, the cosine of that angle, again, the leg adjacent over the hypotenuse, is always going to come out to 0.829 blah 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 blah, or in this case now 0.83. All right. Now that we've figured out the cosine of 34 degrees, and I'm going to rewrite our equation here. So cosine of 34 degrees was equal to the adjacent x over 8. So we used our calculator to find out that the cosine of 34 degrees is 0.83, okay, rounded. So now 0.383 equals x over 8. All right, so now we just got to go ahead and solve. We have ourselves a proportion. Remember, those side lengths are proportional. So we can cross multiply. X times 1 equals x. And 8 times 0.83, again, get out your calculator. This time you won't need to have a video for me doing this. Go 0.83 times 8. That equals 6.64, which rounded to the nearest tenth is going to be 6.6. So our length here is 6.6. Okay, so now what I want you to do is give this a try. See how you do. All right, now you're going to need some practice with this, and we're going to do a lot more in live lesson. So take a look at number 6 here. Okay, and what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and set it up and use your calculator and see if you get the right answer. We're going to go over it in the next video, so no sweat if you don't get this right. You're just looking for points. This is to see how you do. And you're going to get a chance at the bottom of the sway to practice a lot more with this even before we get to live lesson. All right, everybody. Good luck.